This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Tuesday, July 28th, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. Some really great trades in the pre-market this morning, and it's just kind of showing the same pattern. Yesterday was a bit slow. There's some really good trades out there, but looks like based off the pre-market, we're going to pick up a bunch. Yesterday was a little bit of a building day in a lot of the things that we did see. But first thing on the list is KODK. All right, so this one has been pretty cut and dry. We had a beautiful print that came in at 850. Right above it, we got 855 prints that showed us that we still had more of a more room for us to run. But all the buying, it was all buying above. So we had 80. It was like 80. Excuse me, 860, 865, and we can see right now we're getting the same type of deal. I mean, there was basically almost nothing but buying on this the substance of the move to towards that 9 level. So right now we're really going to be looking at the 9 to see and make sure that we're continuously getting that new buying to show us that we still have more room up. To be completely honest with you, I'm not very happy with it. We got one burst, the 850 burst that we got before. There was about 3 or 4 of them, all in the same general time period. We didn't kind of pull back, but then after that pullback, beautiful trigger towards that upside. I just need to see more buying at 9. Otherwise, we're going to end up coming right back down because there's just not enough here. But based off the amount of buying that we had coming up, even though we didn't get as much at 9 as we would have liked to see, I do expect it to be able to break because there's just too much that just came into this within that substance. A little bit of a pullback, but definitely has the ability to be able to come back and then give us a trigger back towards that 9 level, even though we kind of have minimal prints that are sitting there. Because when you got to think about it, the amount of off-level buying that came into this thing, basically, right around that 860 to 875, 880 level, shows us that there is, the money that they need to make should be way over that 9 level, right? About, conservatively looking at that 950. Now, next time we do come to 9, we do need to see more coming in there to give us any chance to get at that 10 level. But after this pullback from that buy, going to be looking for a trigger back towards that upside, really like the substance within there. Fran, FRAN. So this is another one where just beautiful pre-market trade. We got this perfect little pullback after we got prints at that 9 on the ask level. We ended up coming back down. Beautiful trigger towards the upside and huge move. Now keep in mind, the thing that I saw most, and it's probably, here we go. It does let me. So if you look, it got ask prints at that 10, but then immediately after, we didn't really see much coming into it at all. So I'm not shocked whatsoever that we ended up pulling back down, but look, we're in a little bit of a staircase sitting here. We do have the prints there that needed to build at 1010. Obviously, huge psychological number, going to be very hard to hold the first time coming up without any type of reaction buying coming in to show us that we can really continue to run. But overall, definitely still getting new buying. You can see right here, nice little burst. It does not take a lot to move this thing. If you look at the print personality, when it gets a nice size burst, 4 to 5 in that area, it really does move the stock. You can see a little bit more buying coming in at the 10, which means that we're going to end up having to pull back because we didn't get any type of real reaction coming overwards. But print personality is not that big, so when we see something like that, it is a lot more than we would, than we normally would look based off of what the puzzle is showing. So it is showing that we still have more room above that 10 level. Just remember, 10 is going to be a lot of games. We know for a fact there's a market maker sitting there and paying attention. Everybody's eyes is going to be on it because it is number 2 on the active gainers for the day. So overall, I do see it above 10, but we just need to kind of get out of this little game playing. Make sure that when you get the trigger that shows you towards the upside, that it is substantial to show us that it is an actual release rather than just kind of bringing it up to get people in to then bring it back down and still take those shares. Because I mean, the reaction isn't terrible now, but I didn't like the reaction that we saw right immediately after we got those 10 prints. So still going to be expecting a little bit of a pullback. And right now, even though out of the staircase, usually out of a staircase, we should get a nice trigger. And this is just kind of floating towards that upside. Next thing, SNGX. So this is on our side list, but overall, I really like the buying that I've been seeing in it. I mean, it's been stuck in this consolidation pretty much all morning, but the one thing I like is it's starting to turn up a little bit, and it held that 3 incredibly. I mean, it did come under a little bit, but it's showing a very nice pattern, especially for cheap stocks like this. So really, based off the buying that we're seeing coming in above this 3, a nice trigger to the upside. There isn't much buying. I looked earlier this morning. There isn't much buying that's sitting at that top. So what we need to see is that building, and we're definitely getting that buying coming in. So this is a nice one to be looking for, that double top as a first time price target. Obviously, we're going to need to see more coming in. Going to need to see actual trading coming in because it's kind of just stuck. But I love the buying that we're seeing coming towards the top of that consolidation. SPPI, so SPPI is shortable. If it wasn't shortable, probably wouldn't care too much about it, to be honest with you, because I haven't really seen anything that's that great. I mean, it's had some decent bursts. You can see right underneath, under 5. These, I really liked seeing this, but overall 5 is just one of those levels I hate. I wish it was at like a 3 or a 4 or something that wasn't so close to that psychological level, because once again, we know that they're going to end up playing games. But the selling that I've seen coming underneath, especially with the gap that we have, although the gap, the jump up is showing, did have really good volume coming into the aftermarket. So going to need to see a little bit more selling that really convinces me that we're going to be able to continue on our way back down. But Nintesh's mouth has to be watering right now because there's a beautiful gap towards that downside, as well being able to short. Just keep in mind that if we still see buying coming in around that 5, there's no reason in the world we can't just see a trigger coming back towards that buying from yesterday in the aftermarket. But overall right now, just based off of what I saw coming in under 5, it definitely looks like the big sell-off was there, and to be expected, especially when a stock comes underneath that 5 level. And then BOXL. So BOXL, really nice move. It had some really nice buying as it started coming back towards that upside. But the problem is it just never really got that trading to be able to break out of it. You could see volume started to decrease almost instantly after we got that move. And you got to keep in mind, it's a measured move. We know this pattern very well. So when it comes to the top of that measured move, almost always see it pull back first before we get any type of real continuation. But overall, it does have the buying up at the highs for us to be able to kind of hold, the best case scenario would be kind of hold this 298 print line and then just be able to trigger back towards that upside. And then, conservatively going to be looking at the double top. And then as we get closer to there, the reaction of those prints will tell us if we're going to be able to continue up towards that 350 or if we're going to end up seeing it come right back down. So a lot of cheap stuff out there. I haven't really seen much else on the more expensive side. Everything else is kind of just, dying out, but it has a lot to do with the fact that FNAR is, trading great volume. We have KODK trading great volume. So other than that, that's all I got. Anything else out there that I missed? Anything else out there? All right, so that looks like it. Now, remember, we have classes beginning at 10 a.m. Traders Exchange, make sure to get your questions in because I do not have topics on class weeks. All right, so let's make sure that we have enough questions to be able to, obviously do that. And I haven't talked about this in probably the past week, but let's make sure we're still focusing on our trading patterns. The best way to get better at trading is find out what we're specifically doing and what's working and what's not working. And that's something that you definitely want to go over before Traders Exchange and make sure anything that you do need to kind of smoothen out a little bit that you send in your questions for that. Other than that, guys, I will talk to everyone in the chat and the rest of you in class at 10. Happy trading.